Good morning. It's now time for the next Mastermind Keynote. My name is Laureen Garrod. I'm head of the MIP markets at Veen. Our speakers today are the executives who are making Facebook one of the most important and popular video platforms. More than 2 billion people around the world use Facebook, and more they are coming to Facebook to watch video. Our speakers are Danker, the social network's director of video product, and Veen, Facebook's head of global creative strategy. They will share their insights into the increasing role video is playing in connecting people and speak to us about the recently launched Watch platform. Danker leads Facebook's video products, including Facebook Live. He previously worked at Microsoft, BBC iPlayer, and Shazam. Veen came to Facebook after having co-founded collegehumor.com and Vimeo, working for Barry Diller at IAC. They will then be joined in conversation by Marjorie Paillon, journalist at France 24 and founder of I Love Productions. Now, very warm welcome for Daniel and Ricky.
Good morning. Thank you all for joining us. I'm Daniel. I'm going to share a little bit about our video strategy and then welcome Ricky to talk a little bit more about the content side of what we're building. I lead our video product team, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about some of what we've learned over the past couple of years about video on Facebook, how that's influencing the things that we're building right now, and a little bit about what we see coming in the future. So, first and foremost, we see that video is absolutely exploding on Facebook. Today, 50% of all mobile data traffic is going to video. And over the next 5 years, that's going to grow to 75%. So you can see that video plays a huge role in what's happening with consumption and data on the internet. Now, what makes video on Facebook special is that it's community-driven. And watching video on Facebook actually has the power to bring people together, to spark conversation, and to foster a sense of community. And on Facebook, what we see, of course, is that the consumption behaviors around video really center around those communities, but they are different types of communities that play out. One, for example, is your friends and family. So you'll experience video because your friends say, you know, I saw this video and I tagged you in it because I thought about you when I saw it. Another type of community we see is people who share your interests, but who you may not actually know. So this may be familiar to some of you. You're a member of a group that is using video almost as a way of communicating and sharing, but it could be about a hobby or topic that you wouldn't necessarily talk to your friends and family about. And finally, we see that video plays a huge role in connecting people with the whole community on Facebook through quite mainstream experiences. Today, more than 40% of all of the time that people spend watching video on Facebook is actually driven by that sharing behavior that I was describing, as opposed to the original post of a video. So, another example of video that really fosters community, which we've talked a lot about over the last year, is Live. What's special about Live is that it's really authentic. When you're watching a live video, you feel like you're there in the moment with the person who's live. And you're also in the moment with the other people who are watching. So it's a highly interactive experience that's happening in real time. And today, 1 out of every 5 videos on Facebook is a live video. So people come together around these live videos for all different kinds of scenarios. Everything from a quite casual experience where somebody shares their vacation and they're experiencing it together with others, friends and others who are commenting. But it goes all the way up to really big mainstream experiences like the social eclipse, I call it the social eclipse, the solar eclipse, which became quite social on Facebook when 29 million people came together to watch it at the same time. 12 million people lived within the path of the eclipse, but 29 million people watched it together on Facebook. So it became quite a social eclipse. What we learned from all of this, of course, is that the comments and reactions that you see alongside a live video, they're as big a part of the experience as the video itself. You really can't imagine watching a live broadcast and removing the comments. It would just feel incomplete. And so we see that people comment 10 times more on a live broadcast than they do on a regular video. It's just that incredibly interactive experience that's so important. Now, the common thread across everything I just described is just how powerfully video can bring people together and build stronger connections. And so as people are coming to Facebook more and more to watch video, we see that they're actually coming with the intent to watch video. Their goal in opening the app is to watch video. And so we wanted to create a dedicated place where this could happen. And so about a month ago, we launched Facebook Watch. And Watch is a new place on Facebook that's dedicated to shows. Now, shows themselves are actually a new format for Facebook because they're a type of video that was never possible in the newsfeed. They're a type of video that tells a story or follows a theme over a series of episodes. And we describe Watch as a platform for shows because it's a place where we expect ultimately any creator or publisher to be able to make a show. Everything from niche interests to quite big mainstream shows that bring the world together. The goal is to make this platform so that creators and publishers can build a loyal audience and build community through their show. And so I want to give you a little sneak peek as to what it looks like. When you first come to Watch, you'll notice that there's a tab at the bottom of the app. And that tab, when you first come in, presents you with a series of shows that are based on your friends and your interests and the communities that you're a part of. These shows are organized into sections that are built around community. So, for example, you'll notice sections like Most Talked About, which reflect the shows and episodes that are sparking conversation that maybe your friends have commented on, where there's a lot of discussion happening. Or there's another section called What Friends Are Watching, and this is really a place where you can discover shows that your friends are following that you can watch together. If you've ever tried to figure out what should I watch now, often that signal from what your friends are into becomes incredibly important in helping you choose what you'd be interested in watching. And finally, we have a section called What's Making People Laugh, and it's entirely driven by people's use of the ha-ha reaction. So as people are hitting that reaction, it's populating this section with things that make you laugh. So if you want to laugh, it's a good place to look. There's going to be many more sections that are oriented around community that help you find what to watch. Now, another really important part of Watch is the watch list. And this is a place where if you're following a show, you know that you're going to get every new episode as it comes out. So you know you'll never miss out. But I think this is equally important for publishers and creators who themselves now, for the first time, have an ability on Facebook to build a loyal audience and know that everybody's going to get the latest episodes in order. And we all know that that's such an important part of storytelling. So Watch will make it easier to tell stories in an interactive and community-oriented way where you can build a loyal audience. When you tap through to watch a show, we've brought forward some of the things that we've learned from live. So I mentioned earlier that that interactive component and the comments in live feel like such an important part that they become as important as the video itself. Well, the same is true here. And so while you're watching shows, you'll see the comments alongside the video. And we even enable publishers to create a group that they can link to the show so that they can continue connecting with their biggest fans even between episodes. It's a really unique part of how shows work on Facebook. Now, all of this really only works if we build a great product that connects with fantastic content. And so I want to hand it off to Ricky, who'll tell us more about the content on Watch.
Thank you, Daniel. So for Watch to work, not only do you need a delightful product experience like Daniel outlined, but you obviously also need compelling content. One engineer at Facebook put it this way. He said, Watch is one thing at Facebook where code alone can't make it work. So my team's role is to work with people like yourselves to get shows on the platform that drive excitement, inspiration, and innovation for Watch. And if we do our jobs right, over time, a thriving and self-sustaining ecosystem of shows will develop. So since you haven't seen enough sizzle reels this week already, we have one more for you. Let's take a look at some of the initial shows from Watch.
am LeVar Ball, father of 3 sons born to go pro.
3 from the same daddy? Unbelievable.
I recently cheated on my boyfriend with a woman and he left me. What am I doing with my life? Am I actually living it, or is it just happening?
You've accepted whatever outcome the Facebook community comes to.
I needed to actually prove to you.
It's got me! I'm sorry, Chef.
I actually feel like we nailed it.
Okay, that was a cut.
Right. My life is worth thousands of dollars.
Look at this. We're in a rat race to go where? Stop and look at the people around you. Can I help that person?
The goal is to introduce America to regular people who are doing something nice.
While I do that, you look at this.
So the second most frequent question I get right behind what is Mark Zuckerberg like is what makes a good show on Facebook? So obviously it's early, but here are some of our early learnings. First, it should activate communities. That's something Daniel hit on when he talks about the purpose of the product. And when I say communities, I mean that in a few ways. One, you could tap into an existing community. An example of that would be a show called The Great Cheese Hunt that Business Insider does for us. That does really well, obviously, for cheese enthusiasts. You could have a new community form around the content, like a mystery series where people talk about what's going to happen next. Or it could use feedback from the audience from that community to inform the storyline of the show. Returning the favor, which you saw there, honors a new person every week. That person is pulled from the show's comments. Second, it's typically longer. Videos in Watch are typically longer than what you'll see in Newsfeed. And that's because Watch is a place for intentional viewing. One of our shows, Loosely Exactly Nicole, I'll give you a stat from that. Of people who watch for at least 1 minute, those people watched an average of 15 minutes. The episodes are only 20 minutes long. So this is a behavior that we didn't really know before we launched Watch whether it would exist. And we're really delighted with those results. In fact, we have yet to see the upper limit of how long people will watch shows, episodes on Watch. Third is non-traditional formats. Obviously, video on Facebook isn't constrained by typical 30 or 60-minute blocks. But it can also be a mix of live, it can be VOD, and you can also use other elements to tell the story, like photos or text or polls. Last, and I would say most importantly, is that the content is built for Facebook. And when I say built for Facebook, what I mean is if you took it off of Facebook, it either wouldn't be possible or it wouldn't exist. Or it wouldn't be as good. So let's look at some of our shows and dig in a little deeper. So this one is called Makeup or Breakup. The premise behind Makeup or Breakup is a couple goes on, they're having trouble in their relationship, and they use the wisdom of the crowd to decide what to do next. So this is a live show, and it incorporates polling. So the couple's getting a real-time feedback from the audience that gives them advice. Now, over 70% of people who commented on the first episode of Makeup or Breakup cast a vote for the couple to either make up or break up. And all the other comments were constructive feedback about their relationship. So people are super engaged with this programming, and they're not just talking about random stuff, which is great. Next up is a show called Between the Scenes. So this is a series that Comedy Central in the US put up. It's from The Daily Show, which is obviously one of their flagship programs. Now, in between commercials, while they're filming the nightly show, they keep the cameras rolling, and they've created the show called Between the Scenes, which is the footage of when Trevor Noah, the host, is talking to the guests. So this is a great example of a broadcaster engaging an existing audience in a new way and growing that audience as well. So last, this is called Win This House, and this is a brand new series that we just put out. This was created by a couple who was formerly on HGTV. And the premise of the show is that with the audience's help, with the community that's formed around the show, they renovate a home, room by room. and then at the end, someone wins the house. So the cool thing about this is they integrate the on-demand episodes with live episodes throughout the week, where they ask the audience, what color should this room be? Which faucet do you like? And they get real-time feedback, so by the end, by the time somebody actually wins the house, they feel like they have a stake in what was built. So what's next for us? Well, expansion. We just launched Watch about 6 weeks ago in the US. We're learning, we're seeing what's happening, and we're excited to roll it out more broadly in the future. Second, renewals. We just announced some renewals, Returning the Favor, Ball in the Family, and scripted shows Strangers and Loosely Exactly Nicole. And third, new series. So as I've said, Watch is a platform, and we're excited to see what the community and content creators will bring to it. And I'm also really excited today to announce a new show that's coming to Watch. We are bringing the English language version of SCOM to global audiences on Facebook Watch. The first time I saw SCOM, I felt it was the perfect show for Facebook and the perfect show for Watch. So for those of you who don't know about SCOM, it's a show out of Norway by the Norwegian state broadcaster NRK. It's a teen drama, and the way it's told is built for social media. So if a party is happening Tuesday at 2 a.m. in the storyline, that scene, that 4-minute scene will go online Tuesday at 2 a.m. If there's a recap conversation about it at lunch the next day, Wednesday at noon, that goes online. And not only is it told in that non-traditional format, but the characters themselves have Instagram profiles, Facebook profiles. They interact with each other. And that is obviously very compelling for us. So we're doing this in partnership with Simon Fuller. He's been an awesome partner so far. And SCOM's original creator, Julie Andem, will be show running the series. So we're obviously very excited about that as well. So I'd like to welcome Marjorie, who's going to come up and grill us with some questions. Thank you very much.
So, great presentation, by the way, but we're definitely at an era where we're all competing for the time and attention of our users. Now, if you turn those users into viewers, you have a smart idea, because video is so powerful when it comes to keeping captive audiences and try to manage their engagement. Now, I'm just wondering if there is a Facebook way of defining content and specifically shows them.
Yeah, well, shows on Facebook, I think, are really interesting because they have this amazing ability to keep people engaged and keep people coming back, which really lends itself to telling stories, which is something all of you do every single day. And so I think what's exciting to us is that it's creating a new type of format where people can connect with stories they love and where community can really form around that content. We get excited about the community element because we see more and more examples of creators and publishers wanting to connect with their audience in a really powerful way.
Yeah, I mean, I'll use an example that literally happened in the US while we were sleeping here last night. So we have the show Returning the Favor, where Mike Rowe, as I said, goes and finds people in their community who are doing great things. And he found this woman, Katie Hughes, in Portland. And she was helping young women prepare for skilled trades like being an electrician, being a carpenter, setting up this camp called Girls Build. So Mike went, and they really didn't have much to work with. We returned the favor, got them all new power tools. This was maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago. We found out that 2 days ago that they got, it was robbed. I assume somebody had seen the episode, broke in, took all the expensive power tools. So Mike shared that with his audience, with that show's audience, and said, hey, remember Katie? This is what happened. Let's raise money to replace all her tools. Within minutes, her inbox was full of donations. And that is something that isn't possible on anywhere else. Like when you combine like a video, they often sound like talking points, right? Like, oh, it's community, it's video. Like, this is an actual real-life example of those things coming together in a really magical way that it's hard to imagine where else it could happen.
So of course you have the social layer and the interaction layers on the Facebook team when it comes to content. But still, why do you guys think shows and content, video content in Facebook is so unique compared to your competitors?
Well, I think that it's built around people, and it's built around your friends and the people who matter to you. And so we all have this experience where we're trying to figure out what to watch. And it's difficult to choose from a list. Everything looks good, but it's hard to know what you want to get into. Now, often the biggest motivator is that you know this is what your friends are into. This is what the people that matter to you will be into. And that the conversation that starts is as important. So we see that as something that's very, very exciting. And I think that when creators and publishers really start harnessing that power, and that's one of the reasons I'm super excited about SCOM, because it really engages that in a way that's quite unique and I think makes for a much more engaging experience.
So friends over recommendation algorithm, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, actually, you tackled a very interesting word a few ago. Money, and we're going to talk about money, of course, because you're actually funding some show to kickstart the watch ecosystem. But what is a long-term goal in terms of commissioning these shows?
Well, first and foremost, it's really important to understand that what we're making here is a platform. And so what we mean by that is that ultimately we want anybody to be able to make a show and connect with their audiences. The reason I say that is that the way that will work is by funding those shows through ad breaks, which publishers can insert into their episodes. And they choose the moments in the episode to insert those. Publishers can also make money using branded content. So if there's a sponsor for your show, you can represent that sponsor and that brand in what you publish. And we're now nearing nearly 1,000 shows on the platform. So the vast majority of the shows are ones that are created by publishers and creators that are excited to make a show. But we're also seeding that ecosystem by experimenting with a small number of shows that we're helping fund to really see what's possible when you create something that is built around community and engages fans better.
Yeah, take for example that series Makeup or Breakup, right? You know, we made that an interactive series, and hopefully other people see that and say, oh, I'd like to use that polling feature as well, or I have an even better take on it. So, you know, the rationale behind us funding content is to kind of take the first step, be the leaders in innovation, and kind of show what's possible.
So you're actually still beta testing the better options when it comes to monetization for video creators and publishers? You're still actually learning
we're still
how it works to come up with the better option possible to monetize. Then, I mean, you came back to live, because actually live has been huge over the past season. But I'm just wondering, I mean, is live still a priority, or are you all focusing on watch now?
And you were telling us this morning how you use live, which is really cool. We love live, and the reason we love live is because it connects with audiences in such an amazing way, and such a real-time and authentic way. Live plays a huge role in watch. In fact, a lot of what we learned from live has now made its way into watch. So for example, as I showed earlier, where while you're watching, even whether the episode is live or not, now as you're watching, you can see the comments happening in parallel. So it makes it a much more social experience, much more interactive experience. We also enable publishers to make shows that can be live, recorded, or a mix. We talked about Makeup or Breakup. What's really cool about that is that when people vote in the episode, the contribution from that interactivity while live actually makes it better for all of us watching, even if it's no longer live. We have a lot of examples like that where live plays a big role.
So you're still, again, beta testing in terms of format, what matches or fits the most in the watch program. But still, I mean, one of the maybe biggest trend or buzzword over the past season has been fake news. And I'm just wondering how you're going to manage news content into the watch program. Is that an idea? New options to bring more content on the watch platform?
So there's currently a lot of news content on watch. You know, obviously it's just rolled out in the US now, but it's really interesting because it is a platform, and we have people from all parts of the political spectrum uploading content and videos, and those series are doing really well. I mean, we're not personally commissioning, we're not that's not my focus, is making news content, but because it is a platform, it's great to see those voices, and I think that people develop daily habits around watch, and obviously news goes speaks very well to a daily habit. And so I think that's why those series are doing so well.
So there's still just not one type of format that actually fits every devices, every single type of content we'll be able to find and watch. And I think we had a glimpse or a clue on the calendar you may want to roll when it comes to the expansion of Watch, of course, with the British version of Scam. But still, do you have a calendar, and do you have any idea on when you are actually going to roll Watch internationally?
Well, we looked at the calendar yesterday. We realized tomorrow it will have been 6 weeks since we launched Watch.
Yeah.
So it's so new, it's so recent that we really, first and foremost, need to learn from what we've just started to roll out. So our first step in that is to understand how people's behaviors are changing with Watch, how people are using the product, what's working, what can we do better, and equally, what can we do to make the experience better for publishers. So as we're bringing all of those learnings together, we're going to iterate the product, we're going to make the whole experience better, and that will guide our timeline for when we take it internationally. Of course, our aim is to bring it to more countries, but at this stage, it's just a tick too early to know just when.
So stay tuned, right?
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
Okay. In terms of actually content, I mean, do you think, Ricky, there is a tailored way to, or can show be tailored to an international and global audience?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously, genre tends to work very well. Action, sometimes with comedies it gets lost in translation. Everybody here kind of knows how those international patterns work. But I think what's really compelling about the opportunity that publishers and creators and producers have with Facebook is to reach a 2 billion person audience. Obviously, I don't think that's ever. That scale of audience has ever been possible for one place before. But when I think about what I'm excited about for the future, I'm thinking, will somebody out there create a global show that the entire world wants to watch at the same time? It sounds lofty and idealistic, but it's now possible.
Okay, now it's maybe a makeup or breakup question when it comes to regulation, but are you of course, trying to bring together your own ecosystem when it comes to content and regulation-wise? What does it tell us?
Well, with all of the products that we roll out, we obviously run a global product with Facebook, and so we work in a variety of different geographies. And with that, we align to all local regulations, and our plan would be to do exactly the same thing with Watch as we bring it to more places.
Okay, what's next? What's our, the next steps you want to take when it comes to Watch, either live, either other type of content? And I have an additional question. Are you guys going to produce your own shows, like Facebook-branded shows?
Well, I'll answer the first question first. I think there's, in terms of what I'm excited to see, Facebook has a history of rolling out products and the products evolving very quickly based on what the people who use them do with them. And so, Daniel said it's 6 weeks old. In a few weeks from now, we could get signal from the audience that says, no, we prefer to watch shows like this, and it could completely change. So, I'm excited to get that feedback as more people use it and see how the product evolves and how the content evolves. In terms of the question about branding shows or something like that, I think we're very early. We're still figuring it out. But given that it is a platform, I would always lean in towards the creator or uploader or producer and putting the focus on them, because at the end of the day, that's our goal is to amplify those voices. Yeah.
I think to Ricky's point, he obviously often talks about what's unique here is this combination of a really social experience that's really people-centric with content creation that can bridge the connection with those people. And when I think about what's exciting for the year ahead, I'm most excited to see how that content comes together with the community. I think Live taught us all kinds of new things about how that works. We saw that happen with creators, but we equally saw that happen with publishers who started interacting with their audience in ways that they never could before. And I think we're in for a treat when we see what happens here as new creators and publishers around the world start making shows.
Yeah, I mean, just the idea of video viewing and social media happening at scale in the same place is really exciting to me as a person in the content world. And I mean, it's just, there's going to be, as Daniel said, so much to do with it, and just for us to see what happens.
Facebook taking on the video revolution and video shift. Thank you so much, guys, for your insights and perspective. Thank you very much for your attention, and I think you have a brand new super panel waiting for you in a few.
Thank you.
Thank you.